Hello, is this microphone on? Is it working? All right. Well, good evening, everyone. My apologies for the delay. This is for you, Mr. President. Thank you. Thank you for your patience, and good evening again, and welcome to this press conference on the EU Western Balkan Summit, following the discussions among leaders. The plenary session just finished a few minutes ago, and as you may know, we just published the declaration, which was adopted during the summit, and with which the Western Balkan leaders agreed to align with. You will find the document on our website. With us, we have the President of the European Council, Antonio Costa, and the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen. So without further ado, President Costa, the floor is yours.
Good evening. The timing of today's summit could not have been better. It was the first meeting I shared as President of the European Council. This highlights the political priority that enhancing cooperation with the Western Balkans has for me and for the European Union. We are sending a strong signal with the Brussels Declaration that we adopted today. And I'm glad that the Western Balkans partners align with it. So I would like to express my satisfaction that we have agreed on a declaration that is different from those of previous summits, more concise, and that can more easily understood by citizens. During today's summit, it was clearly that the European Union and the Western Balkans belong to the same European family. The Western Balkans' place is at the heart of our European project. Also, this summit was not about enlargement. It is also clearly than ever that enlargement is our common driving force. It is a fact that each country that has joined the European Union is much more prosperous thanks to its membership. This is Europe's prosperity promise. Enlargement is also the best geostrategic investment in our peace, security, and stability that we all can make. And gradual integration of the Western Balkans into the European Union is already advancing in a merit-based way. Today's declaration underscores the fact that our growth plan for the Western Balkans is a real game changer. Citizens in the region will see a doubling of economic growth translated into new jobs and better services over the next decade. There is no other region in the world into which the European Union has invested so many resources, financial resources, human resources, and expertise. This is how more integration builds a real strategic partnership, a strategic partnership that sees the Western Balkans align with the European Union in condemnation of Russia's war of aggression and support for Ukraine, including military support. And a strategic partnership in which we reinforce security and resilience in the Western Balkans through the European Peace Facility. The European Union is already the biggest economic partner of an end investor in the Western Balkans. It is and will remain their most reliable partner in the future. We all know that some challenges persist. Bilateral disputes and neighborhood dilemmas still need to be addressed. We need to stay focused on credible and sustainable reforms, and accession will be merit-based. Tonight, we heard about the frustrations from the region, but I believe we can overcome. Together, we now have a new momentum. We have seen significant progress in the past year, particularly by Montenegro and Albania. And during this summit, I noticed a collective sense of responsibility and a new drive to work harder and faster. So we should use the new momentum to the fullest and create all the conditions necessary for enlargement. Because there is no doubt that the future of the Western Balkans is in our Union. Thank you.
Thank you very much, President. Madam President, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much, Antonio, for convening this EU-Western Balkan Summit. It was the first of this new political cycle, and it shows how important it is for us to have it. Over the past years, the enlargement process has gained new vitality. We had unprecedented challenges like the COVID pandemic and Russia's war in Ukraine, and this has accelerated the pace not only of history, but also the pace of moving forward the accession process. We have to rise to a new reality. And the new reality is that it is not enough to simply leave the door open for our aspiring members, but we have to be active, and we have to actively bring them closer to us. We will keep the same ambition and political commitment during this new term. We will continue to work hard on two priorities with our Western Balkan partners. The one is EU accession, and the other one is a gradual integration in our single market. First, on accession. There was remarkable progress over the past year. Just this week, we closed 3 more negotiation chapters with Montenegro. We hope to see more closed in 2025. We also just opened the external relations cluster with Albania, and the Council also agreed to move forward on the opening of Cluster 3 with Serbia. The letter is sent. Enlargement works. History proves it. In just a few days, we will mark 30 years of the 1995 enlargement. And this year, we also marked 20 years of the 2004 enlargement, when 10 countries joined our union. Each wave has made our union stronger. But we know that success relies not only on readiness, but also on readiness on both sides. Future member states must prepare for the responsibilities of membership, but at the same time, the European Union must adapt to accommodate a larger family. And this is why, early in this mandate, the Commission will review its major sectoral policies. We want to make sure that they are adapted to an enlarged union. The accession process is rigorous, it's merits-based, and it will remain so. But given the geopolitical situation, we are redoubling our efforts to support our partners who want to make progress. And that leads me to my second point, that is gradual integration in the single market. In October 2020, we put forward an economic and investment plan of 30 billion euros for the region. This investment plan is building roads, railways, electricity networks, broadband, creating connections between us. And it is delivering. Already 60% of the financing has been mobilized, with new projects breaking ground all the time. So it's a success. A success we are building on with the growth plan now. The growth plan can bring the economies of the Western Balkans closer to us. Right now, the economies of the Western Balkans stand at 35% of the EU average. The growth plan has the potential to double their size within this decade, so within this mandate. The growth plan is 6 billion euros in investment, and the principle is investment and reform. We have now 5 very ambitious reform agendas in place for the 5 Western Balkan partners. They suggest the reform agenda. And we are looking forward to receiving the 6th one. And in returns for these reforms, these are backed by investment. We're preparing the pre-financing worth over 300 million euros to start with the reforms. At the same time, and that's important, the growth plan offers Western Balkan partners a gradual access to our single market. So it's investment and opening for the reforms. It's a unique approach. It's working. Let me give you some examples. For example, the so-called green lanes. We're speeding up now the movement of people and goods at 10 key border crossing points between the European Union and the Western Balkans. This will lower the waiting time at the border by up to 80%. We're also bringing the Western Balkans into the single euro payment area. Long word, but this means very simple, low cost, fast, secure money transfer between the Western Balkans and the European Union. Very important for the citizens and the companies. Albania and Montenegro will join as of next year. North Macedonia and Serbia are set to follow soon. And finally, a brief glance on the regional cooperation. Our partners are also making progress with their common regional market, the Western Balkan Common Regional Market. The last Berlin Process Summit was pivotal in this respect. 5 mobility agreements are now implemented, and these are agreements from e-commerce to the recognition of professional qualifications. They are breaking down barriers for people and business alike within the regional common market of the Western Balkans. So, lots of good work on its way. Thank you very much again, Antonio, for convening this Western Balkan Summit.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Madam President. Due to obvious time constraints, we only have time for a couple of questions. Tonight we have interpretation to English, French and Portuguese, so you may ask your questions in those 3 languages. Plus, please identify yourself and the media you represent. Thank you.
Thank you. Blaž Mohorčić with the Slovenian Press Agency. You've mentioned some progress in last days in the enlargement and in the accession negotiations with Montenegro and Albania, but there are still some member states that are blocking other candidates, or also Montenegro, because due to bilateral issues. So I would like to know, Mr. Costa, what will be your approach to avoid these blockages in the accession process? And for Madam President, are you planning any concrete initiative to avoid these blockages? There were some member states are asking to go from the consensus to the QMV for some steps of the process. Thank you.
Please.
Well, the accession process is a merit basis driven, and then only the merit basis could be the base to evaluate the progress and the non-progress on accession. Bilateralization is not a fair way to deal with accession. We need to avoid, and I'm engaged to personally to try to overcome these bilateral problems, because we need to look for this enlargement as a very important geopolitical investment, not only for the Western Balkans, but also for the common interests of the 27 member states. And that's why we need to pursue with this process with great determination and trying to overcome these bilateral problems or issues that sometimes comes at the table, and we need to solve them.
I can only underline what you said, Antonio. You asked about unanimity. Well, where unanimity is needed, you can only change it into QMV by unanimity. So there's no way just to choose the QMV approach. My experience is over these years now, it is absolutely paramount to engage when these blockages are there, to find solutions, to find compromises, This has worked. Sometimes it slows down the process. Yes, I know that. But it always has worked. And when you look at the overall of the European Union, well, it is a history or a story of finding compromises and finding solutions for problems that occur. So I'm confident.
Okay, thank you. Gerakina on the right hand.
Gerakina Tuhina, Kosovo TV. For Madam President, obviously among 6 Western Balkans partners, as you call them, one is less equal than the others, exactly the one that you didn't even mention during the opening speech. We have Kosovo, who is in a very weird situation, the only country whose application has not been treated for obtaining candidacy status for EU, and the country that is under the measures by European Union exactly. The President of Kosovo said today ahead of the summit that EU is treating unjustly Kosovo and its people. Care to comment? Thank you.
Yes, so we stand ready to come with a negotiating framework, but for that we need an invitation by the Council to form an opinion and to go the first step. But as we just said, in a good tradition, we have to overcome the issues that are there, then to move forward. But I want to re-emphasize that we stand ready. The same goes for the measures. We stand absolutely ready to end the measures. Here we also need unanimity with the member states, and this is not given at the moment being, but we work hard to get it, because I think indeed it is important also for Kosovo to move forward. We made sure as a Commission that there is no loss of money. That is very important. So full support for Kosovo, but as you see, this is an enlargement process as we know it, with issues that we have to overcome to then guarantee the unanimity for moving forward.
Okay, well, thank you very much. The President needs to go to join the leaders' dinner. Thank you for being tonight with us, and I wish you a very nice evening. Bye-bye.